So today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to play this song Rustic Dance, and this is for the viola. So the first thing that you're going to want to do whenever you get a new piece of music is look at the key signature and the time signature. So the key signature for this piece has two sharps, which means that it's in D major. So it has an F sharp and a C sharp. And so throughout the piece you'll be playing those sharps. Next you want to look at the time signature, which for this piece is common time or 4/4. So next thing that you want to look at when you have a new piece of music is kind of skim the piece and look for any just things that you maybe don't know how to play, notes that you haven't seen before, accidentals, anything like that. So upon first looking at this piece, you'll notice that there's an accidental that first pops up in measure 10. And this accidental comes up a couple times in the piece, and what that means is that when you're playing the double stop, which I'll explain in a second, you're going to be playing an open string, so you don't need to worry about playing a C sharp for that. So going along with that is double stops. So you guys have probably been working really hard on making sure you're just playing one string at a time. But what double stops are, and what you'll see in this piece starting at measure 7, is playing two notes at the same time. So it'll sound like this. So you guys can play it DVC, which means separate or together, whatever you feel most comfortable with. But for each one, you're just going to be playing both the notes together. And because these are all open strings, they'll be pretty easy for you guys to do. Also looking at this piece, you'll notice that the road map is a little bit different than maybe what you're used to. Instead of just going straight through the piece, there is a repeat. So when you get to measure 21, you'll just keep playing through it, but then when you get to measure 45, you'll go back to measure 21 and play through that. And then just go through it like that. So yeah. So once you've kind of skimmed the piece and gotten that all done, you can go ahead and start looking at the rhythms and counting. So this piece has eighth notes, quarter notes, and half notes. So we're going to start at a tempo of 66. And the concert tempo is 132, so you'll want to work it up to that, but 66 is a good starting point. So we'll start at 66, and you can just you can clap or pizzicato on an open string, just like the rhythm that you'll see in the piece. So we'll just start at the beginning, and I'll go until measure 5. Kind of an example of what you guys can do for this. And I'm going to be doing it on an open A string. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can kind of do that throughout the whole piece, or whatever you feel most comfortable with. And once you get that rhythm down, you can start pizzicatoing it on the notes that it's actually supposed to be. So I'll just go to measure 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you also notice that throughout this piece, there's these little marks that appear above what you guys might see as open A's. And those 4s are telling you to use 4th finger on your D string instead of an open A. So you can do that, but when you're first starting a piece, you can also just use open A until you kind of figure out the rhythms and everything. So now that you have the counting down and you can go through the whole piece and do that rhythm, you can also move on to arco with that. And so I'm going to be playing up until measure 21 at the repeat, so you guys can see what 66 BPM sounds like. 1, 2, ready, go. we'll keep going after that and do the whole piece. So after you've gotten the rhythms down, the notes down, you can play arco just fine. You're going to want to slowly start speeding up the tempo. And this process can take time, but over that time you'll be able to work it up to that concert tempo, which is going to be 132 BPM, which I'll set it to. Alright, so here's what that's going to sound like. Going straight from the 66 to this is going to be a little bit hard, which is why you want to kind of work up the tempo and use tempos in between those two. But here's what 132 will sound like once you get to this point. And to work it up, there's a lot of different methods that you can use, but mostly you'll just want to slowly start working it up, and gradually you won't really notice a big difference if you work on it slowly at a time. So now you're going to want to play it at 132, which I'll play through the entire piece except for the repeat, so you guys can hear what that'll sound like. So that's what the whole piece will sound like, but keep in mind I wasn't playing through the repeat. So after you've gotten up to the concert tempo, there's a couple other things you can look at to help improve the piece. The biggest one of those is going to be dynamics. So you'll notice that when I played it, I didn't play with a whole lot of dynamics, but you guys can kind of figure out the phrasing and all that on your own. So obviously, as you guys know, forte is going to be louder and piano is going to be softer, and those are the two dynamics you'll see in this piece. So in places where it's forte, some techniques that you can use to make it louder is playing with all of your bow hairs on the string and playing closer to the bridge. And that'll make your playing a lot louder, and obviously putting more weight on the bow as well. And so to make it piano, it's kind of just going to be the opposite. You're going to be playing with less bow on the string, and you're going to point that towards you or the bridge. And you're going to be playing more by the fingerboard and less weight on the bow. So after you figure that all out, it's going to sound amazing, and you guys totally got this, so good luck.